It is time for the next market update for what is happening in real estate here in Southwest Florida. All right, so we're going to take a look at the market stats from January data. And like usual, we're going to start with our 7-day market watch. So per our typical pattern in season, our number of listings continue to rise. So we did have 1,060 new listings in the last 7 days. You can see we have a little bit of a delta between new listings and sold. So that's a really positive thing because we're trying to just continue to have an increase in our inventory, and we are seeing that. We did have, however, 1,219 pendings. So we kind of say the same thing on a lot of these market updates. Not all of those are going to close, but a lot of those are going to close, most of them, in fact. The number of back on markets is staying fairly steady. We're not seeing a huge change in those types of numbers. We are continuing to see a big number of price decreases as we continue to kind of settle into our current market. So we're not seeing significant decreases in our overall market stats, which you'll see when we get into the next section, but we are continuing to see sellers improve the pricing on their listings. Okay, so let's take a look at a deeper dive at some of the data. So again, we are part of the Bonita Springs Estero MLS board, so that is where our data is coming from. It can be a little different than what we see in Naples, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, but very, very similar across most of Southwest Florida. So we're going to start with the month's supply of homes. And I currently have single family selected, and we were at 2.4 in December, and we have climbed a little bit. So we've got a couple more weeks worth of inventory in single family homes compared to where we were last month, which is a positive thing because that means we have more choices for people. When we're looking at condos, we have seen a little bit more of an increase. So they had about 2 months of inventory in December. In January, it had just over 2.5 months. So again, those numbers are increasing, which is positive. So anything under 6 months is still considered a seller's market. So we are still in a seller's market. However, our inventory numbers continue to increase. We've seen this for several months running, and this is real positive because this means that when you're in the market as a buyer, you have more choices. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is our average, our median sales price. So again, we peaked last year in May of 2022 for single family homes, Bonita Springs Estero, that was $750. We saw a decline happening in third and fourth quarter of last year. You can kind of see we came down quite a bit with that number, and then we rose back up in January. So January was a pretty strong month, and we did have the bonus of a bit of a rate drop, and we saw, personally, our team saw immediate impact from that rate drop. As soon as it happened, we had buyers that jumped back into the market really quickly, and in fact, we have a couple of buyers that are closing with pretty good rates for today's standards. So when we look at condos, the median sales price, so it's kind of the same trajectory. So, the pricing was kind of at its peak, May and June of last year. We saw it kind of dip a little bit. And then we are seeing the condo median rates rise back up again with that boost that we got in January. So now we're going to just take a look at our new listings. So as you know, a lot of the times we're saying a lot of the similar things. We are in season here in Southwest Florida, and we always see a bump in our inventory in January, February, and March during our seasonal times. So you can kind of see here in December, it goes down a little bit. That is pretty common. And then we saw this nice spike here in January, and that is in line with what history typically shows us about our market here in Southwest Florida. All right, so we're going to next take a look at our average days on market. So this is where we're kind of seeing that buyers have more time to make decisions. We did go up to 19, that's combined single family condo. If we take out condo, we can see we were at 20 days in November, dropped down to 17 days in December, went back up to 19 in January. So houses aren't staying around long, but they're staying around a lot longer than they have been the last 2 years. And when we take a look at condos, we can kind of see that's kind of our post-hurricane statistics. We did have a flurry of activity that happened, but we also did have a pause kind of in what was happening in our market. And then we went to 13, 16, and now 17. So our days on market, the best properties are still selling quickly, and we're still seeing multi-offer situations on the homes that are priced well and are the best properties. But even beyond that, we still have homes that are moving at a fairly quick pace. All right, let's see. And then we're just going to look at our pending sales here. So if you look here, again, these are three-year rolling totals. But our sales have gone up significantly over December. So we were at 170 in December, and we're at 274 here in January. So that's a nice increase. We still do have people coming into the market. So like we talk about a lot, we have a lot of cash sales in our market. The interest rates are definitely cooling things off, allowing for some price decreases. And even though we have more inventory than we've had, which is great because we do have more selections, we're still just at that 2.5 month mark. So we still have another month to go in season. Hopefully we'll continue to gain more inventory over the next month. If you've thought about selling, let's definitely have a conversation. We can show you what's happening within your market. Real estate is hyper local. We talk about this a lot. Depending on what community you're in, what town you're in, might depend what you could expect to get from your home. And people who have bought homes from the last 2 to 10 years still have a considerable amount of equity in their home. We have a lot of equity in our market, so it still might be a great opportunity for you if you've considered it. Let's have a conversation. If you're a buyer who's kind of sitting on the sidelines, let's get some of that homework done. Let's figure out what is the best price, what is the best area for you? What is the best neighborhood? Because we still don't have an overwhelming number of inventory, when you find the right home, we really want to figure out how we can get you in that home. The reality is the interest rates are definitely higher, a lot higher than what we've seen the last few years. There will be opportunities to refi down the road. So if the right property comes along, let's have a conversation and see what it looks like, run some comps, figure out what your goals are to see if it makes sense for you to move forward at this time. So what questions do you have about this market update or about living in Southwest Florida? We would love to answer them for you. Just reach out. You can find us on social media. You can schedule time using the Calendly link below. You can always reach us directly at 239-776-6872.